Alright, so moving on to our next Patreon request, and this one comes from Swift Blitz, who asked me to do my top 5, or rather my 5 favorite cartoon superhero shows. Now, Swift Blitz did ask what my 5 favorite cartoons were, and I did exclude superhero cartoons because that was kind of its own thing, so Blitz basically asked me to do what my 5 favorite superhero shows. But as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below in the description box. Head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the 3rd tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, let's get started with the video. So with all these, this isn't a top 5. I'll stress that again, is that this is not a top 5 favorite. These are just my 5 favorite superhero cartoons. And as always, this is just my personal opinion. I'm always excited to hear what your 5 favorite are in the description box below. And some of it may surprise, 1 or 2 might surprise people as to what I consider a favorite. But let's get started with the first one. And that is basically, yeah, arguably one of the best superhero cartoons of all time, X-Men. You know, X-Men, the animated series. And I'll throw in X-Men 97 in there as well. The X-Men animated series was nothing short of awesome. And continues to be awesome. The series talked about... Like, I know there are people out there saying, like, oh, X-Men's gone woke now. Really? You're saying that to the X-Men? Really? The show that's about diversity and, you know, treating others with goddamn respect. That's woke now? Sure, okay, Bubala. Anyway, so, this show, what can you say? Like, this was the show that really, like, landed everyone to be an X-Men fan over Avengers every day. Like, real OGs always preferred the X-Men over the Avengers. I'm sorry, I love the Avengers, love you Cap, love you Tony, Thor, all of them. But the X-Men, like, this was the show that cemented, like, the X-Men as a household name for Marvel alongside Spider-Man. It wasn't, and I know, like, yeah, I know some people are gonna be like, yeah, I love the show since it was a comic book and the show, and yeah, that's fair. But a lot of us, myself included, first heard about, you know, learned about the X-Men from the cartoons. So it was very much a, you know, learning to, you know, it was kind of a learning curve for the lot of us. So that was kind of the big, you know, that was kind of the big deal right there, was that this series was very much a, you know, step into Marvel or comics in general, honestly. So that's why I think, like, with X-Men 97, that was kind of a big thing. That was a major draw right there. The characters were all great. The voice acting's phenomenal. Everything about that show was perfect, and X-Men 97 only made it better, honestly. So there you go. What more can I say about the X-Men 90s cartoon? Anyway, let's move on to our second one. And this one is going to be the surprising one. This is my favorite Batman cartoon, and it's not the animated series. I love the animated series. It'd come out, if I was to do, like, 10 favorite Batman cartoons, this would be animated series would be number 2, because my favorite Batman cartoon is Batman the Brave and the Bold. I'm not lying. I love Batman Brave and the Bold more than just a little bit more than the animated series. Why? Because it embraced just the absolute lunacy of early Silver Age Batman. This series loved to play with, you know, characters and timelines. It was its own little universe, and the show easily, you know, knew when to make fun of itself. And it also had some surprisingly deep episodes too, like Chill of the Night. I think we can all agree was arguably the best episode. So Chill of the Night. You also had, like, there's also the really good episode from J.M. DeMatteis of the Doom Patrol. That was a really good the Doom Patrol episode was really solid and had a pretty amazing ending. You also had other, you know, other episodes that also had, like, Gail Simone's Birds of Prey episode. I think we could all agree there were so many fucking innuendos in that song. And yeah, the show also had, like, a lot, just nothing but reverence for these characters and reverence for these kind of stories they were telling. It was nothing but, love for it was a giant love letter for Silver Age comics and storytelling. Admittedly, I was like, really, the first few episodes are like, really, this is what we're doing? But then I got into it and saw what they were doing, and I was like, oh my god, I get it now. So that's what I really enjoy about this cartoon, is that this series was not afraid to go completely silly and make it make sense, but also willing to talk about some other, more mature themes along the way. It was just a great balance of what Batman should be, and it still understood the character no matter what. And there are just so many great episodes, like the musical episode with Neil Patrick Harris playing the Music Meister. You had fucking the series finale was fun too, of like Ambush Bug trying to save Batman the Brave and the Bold, and the show got canceled, but it actually had a really bittersweet ending to it as well. I really liked it. The show also has a lot of great one-liners too, like Batman does not eat nachos. Another one was like, you wouldn't hit a lady, would you? The hammer of justice is unisex. It's shit like that, it just kind of showcased how fucking good the writing was for this series. So yeah, we went from X-Men the Animated Series to Batman Brave and the Bold. Make that make sense! But let's get back on track. Next up, we're going to talk about probably the cartoon show that got me into comics, and that is Teen Titans, the OG Teen Titans. Now, before I go any further, I don't give a shit. I give absolutely not a single fuck to give if you don't like Teen Titans Go. If you're going to write in the comments, I am going to give no fucks about you. Because at this point, it's here. It's here to stay. And the show's actually kind of funny, guys. The show has... It's not great, and I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it, but there is some, great comedic timing in that show. And if you're still bitching about Teen Titans Go after all this time... After, almost a decade now... Jesus fucking Christ, let it go. Having said that, Teen Titans is one of the best animated shows of all time. The original OG Teen Titans show was just nothing short of fantastic. This series was the show that got me into reading comics, because I initially thought, and I think I've talked about this before, is where I initially thought Teen Titans was like a group of characters. It was Robin and a group of characters who didn't come from comics. I thought it was all original characters that were all with Robin, and I thought that was the whole story. But turns out, no. They were all from comics. After reading, I think I found a DC encyclopedia in my library back in middle school. I was like, oh my god, that's Starfire. Oh my god, that's Starfire. Oh my god, that's Raven. Oh my god, that's Raven. I saw their original character models, let's just say. And I was like, oh my god, they're actually DC characters? Holy shit! And then it just took off from there. My love for comics really hit... And yeah, I had read comics before, but that really, hit the gas on it. Who knows? Maybe if I didn't watch Teen Titans, I wouldn't have a YouTube channel. But that's a what if for another timeline, I guess. Yeah. So Teen Titans, the show was awesome. It had great characters, great writing. And it did have some really dumb episodes, guys. Come on, let's not beat around the bush. I know Teen Titans Go has a lot of dumb episodes, but there are some really bad episodes. When that show wanted to have comedic writing, yeah, it didn't do well. A lot of those episodes aren't. I know those aren't really the well-liked ones, but yeah, I think we can all agree that Teen Titans didn't have every single episode be a fucking banger. Anyway. So, also, yeah, let's all admit, Raven is the reason why we all like goth girls. Don't lie to me! I'm right. Anyway, moving on to my fourth one. And my fourth pick is Spectacular Spider-Man. No disrespect to the 90s cartoon, but come on, the creator of Gargoyles making a Spider-Man cartoon? How could you not like that? How could that not be perfect? And it was fucking perfect. Those 2 seasons were nothing short of bangers. It was great action. Josh Keaton is a great voice for Spider-Man. The stories, the interlocking stories were all great. The mystery of the Green Goblin was treated like an actual mystery. It was a solid cartoon, and it's another show I really... I don't really make people, beg for shows to come back. I'm not one of those people. But it's one of those shows where I'd be like, come on, Sony, Disney, come on. I know it's never going to happen. I know Sony and Disney are never going to like work together on a new season of Spectacular Spider-Man. But it was so good. So good. It was such a great show. The best Spider-Man cartoon, hands down. And finally, let's talk about our last cartoon. The last cartoon I'm going to talk about is, for favorites, is Justice League, and by extension, Justice League Unlimited. Justice League was such a great ensemble cast of characters. I really loved how all of them played off of each other, and then Unlimited really just kind of showcased more of the DC universe and further broadened it, and also talked about some heavy subjects like government oversight, discrimination, the whole thing of even doing it probably the best adaptation of an Alan Moore story with the man who had everything. Even Alan Moore said that's probably the best work he's... Like, when they showed Alan Moore the episode adaptation of The Man Who Has Everything, he said, that's not horseshit. Yeah, when you impress Alan Moore, you've done something very well. You know, no disrespect to the Superman or Batman cartoons, or even Static Shock. That was very close to be on here. But yeah, Justice League Unlimited was just a great, encapsulation of what the DCU was. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much my 5 favorite superhero cartoons. You guys tell me in the comments below, what are your 5 favorite superhero cartoons? Comment below, let me know. And once again, I'd like to thank Swift Blitz for this Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.